The pandemic has been transformational.
A tragedy.
Isolating.
Growth.
Time.
Lonely.
Excruciating.
Life-changing.
Initially, my wife and I weren't very concerned when the pandemic started. Then all of a sudden, people were dying. We were fearful. We were worried about our friends. We were losing friends. We lost several good friends. Then the isolation and aloneness started to emanate, which had a devastating effect on everybody.
Very anxiety and stress-inducing for me. It was really difficult to kind of just go into this mode of isolation.
So I had a baby in November of 2020. One of the hardest parts for me was just going through that pregnancy in isolation, so to speak. My husband couldn't come to any of the appointments with me. It was really lonely to feel like I was in this pregnancy on my own.
And being a wife and a mom in a family and helping other people manage their anxiety has been a huge struggle as well. We're just not meant to be isolated from our classrooms and our colleagues and stuck at home for months on end. The sense of helplessness that I've felt trying to navigate that with my husband and children has been really difficult.
Something that we have mourned during the pandemic is how few people have met Sally. Gosh, I can count on one hand the number of people who have held her. And that's been really sad.
New Hope community, our community, one always have the culture to getting together. So during the pandemic, we didn't. That was really tough to them. They feel there was so much disconnections.
Really it amplified, I think, areas of my life that I needed to actually focus on in spiritual growth. The anxiety, stress-inducing areas, it's like, oh, I should have a glass of wine to reduce my stress, and I'm just being honest. But it also just showed me that I need more dependency on God, less on those other things. Like, He really showed me what needed to be different to be closer to Him, because everything else is basically stripped away.
I think the pandemic forced us as a society to have to focus in on issues of racial justice and the Black Lives Matter movement. We had to listen to the experiences and the stories of people. Personally, for me, it was a time of mourning. It was a time of fear, but also of healing. I was able to connect with family and friends who were African American, and we spent some time sharing our own stories, praying together, and just coming to a place of wholeness in the midst of tragedy and chaos.
One of the biggest challenges for New Hope family, most of them lost their job. You can imagine when they lost their job, it was so hard to get the food and hard to get the rent. And sometimes also many people in New Hope family, they support back home. When they lost their job, it was a really tough time.
Losing close friends. My best golfing friend was just devastating. In 2 days, we lost him. So it seems so arbitrary. The fear factor among us, we just didn't know who was going to be next.
We were pregnant in 2020 with a very uncertain outcome, but we did joyfully welcome our baby girl, Elise. But her journey was fraught with so much uncertainty. When she came home, there were a lot of complications, and that's when we longed most for our support system, for our family and friends. They were all supportive virtually, but the sad part was nobody could be really, really close to us. After 3.5 months of celebrating Elise, she died. She was called home to glory, and that was a very painful time. What made it even more painful was that we couldn't be with our family and our friends.
We had each other's shoulder to cry on. But we also longed for so many close friends and family all across the globe who just wanted to be beside us.
But all of that was not possible because of the pandemic. People came to our doorsteps, but we couldn't hug them, and we had to weep from a distance. Having a death during the pandemic is such a difficult moment.